Okay, perfect. We're rolling. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. We're very excited today to talk about the 7 games of stamina. The 7 games of stamina or healing. The 7 healing games of stamina. The 7 healing games of stamina are fed by the secret sauce. The secret sauce. We're going to go from the 7 games of stamina to the secret sauce to the 5 kinds of power, the 4 things to do with other people, the 3 ways to pursue your dreams, the 2 ways to relate to your dreams, and the 1 desire, the dream, the point. We want to talk about what's the point and how to get there. So stamina is a map. Stamina is a game. Stamina is something you can do by yourself with others, or with others or by yourself. You can do it for yourself, and you can do it for others. It's healing. Let's not forget we are talking about healing. But you can't really talk about healing if you can't talk about hurting. Hurting and healing are obviously related to each other. And we have the power to hurt, and we have the power to heal. And the 7 games of stamina, along with the secret sauce and the 5 forms that life takes, are going to walk us exactly through down to the point, your desire, your complaint, the way that your life could be better, the way that you want things to be different. That's always going to be the point. What's the point of anything? It's what you're going after. It's the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is the appearance. It's the point. It's the piece that you can see. And it's the point that's being supported by the other points. So if you have multiple points, that's fine. Just remember that you can only take one action at a time. That's why New Year's resolutions fail, because you take 5 actions, you try to improve in 5 different ways, and you can't do it that way. Maybe some can, I've never succeeded. The only way I've gained power in my life, the only way I've ever gone from being dependent on others to independent of others to being dependable to others, the only way I've ever increased my power in that way, increased my standing, my value, my legitimacy, my authority, the only way I've ever done that was by focusing. By focusing, not by being distracted or by being diffuse or by being vague, but by being sharp, focused, and clear. That is what gives you power in my own experience. What I've experienced and what it seems like when you listen to people talk, they say, you got to focus. You got to have a point. If you don't have a point, you're not going to be able to reach anybody. You need access. What we want, what education, focus, discipline, hard work, and all those things give you is access. And it is a fact that hurting and healing are actually related to each other. And you wouldn't have one without the other. This is a form of duality. You wouldn't have hurting if you didn't have healing, and you wouldn't have healing if you didn't have hurting. So they actually do depend on each other. They depend on each other. So let's get on with the game. You can teach anyone anything once you know how to do it. Once you know how to move physically, you can teach others to move physically. In principle, once you do it, you have authority. Now you can actually do it yourself. And because you're doing it yourself, other people are going to see you before you even say anything and think to themselves, that's inspirational. I want to move like that. If you can move emotionally, if you can make moves mentally, if you can move financially or socially, when you know how to move in any of these ways, you have become independent. Because if you can make financial moves, you don't need anyone else. If you can make emotional moves, you don't need anyone else. You're independent. And as you grow physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, and financially, as you grow, you become not only independent, but you become dependable to others, like a star. You become a star around whom others can rotate and depend. When others can depend upon you, you know that now you actually are so safe. You are so taken care of. You are so cherished and admired that actually you feel safe going back to being dependable. Like in my life, because I can do anesthesia independently, I can be depended upon to do anesthesia and to even teach other anesthesiologists. That makes it so that I feel safe being dependent on my colleagues. I can now actually feel very safe because I don't have anything to prove. It's not that things can't get better. Things can always get better. And that's the point. Any desire you have, any complaint you have, is the point of the conversation you're having, of the action that you're taking. So it's not that things can't get better, but you can depend on others to get things to be better for you. You can be independent and depend on yourselves, and others can depend on you to make things better for them. That is what it is to heal. Now, what we haven't talked about yet is the power to ignore. We have the power to hurt, to heal, and the power to ignore. And again, that's where the independence comes in. You don't have to help anyone. You don't have to. If you can take care of yourself, you don't need to help anyone or hurt anyone because you're independent. And we'll talk more about that very soon. But let's just keep in mind that we don't all learn how to interact with each other. We haven't learned the full spectrum of ways to interact with each other, so we have relatively limited ways of interacting with each other. And very often, what we do is we cancel each other. We call out each other. That is how we tend to act when people don't give us what we want. When people don't give us what we want, we tend to cancel them, get rid of them in our life, which is a form of independence, call them out, which is actually a form of dependence, because when you call someone out, you're saying to them, you hurt me. You have to change your behavior. You mispronounced my name. I'm calling you out. I'm embarrassing you. I'm bringing you shame and blame. I'm telling you, you hurt me and that you're going to pay for it. I want your apology right away. I demand it. That's what it is to call someone out. But when you call someone in, that is actually even more power. It's more powerful to invite someone in to your community, into your orbit, than to call someone out because they wouldn't respond or behave or act or think or spend in the way that you thought was right, in the way that you thought was just. Finally, we have cancel, call out, call in, and call upon. This is paradoxically seeming to be the most weak, where I say, please help me. But that's the power of the person who has someone else at their disposal. If I'm at your disposal and you say to me, please help me, you're saying to me that you depend on me, but you're actually saying that you can rely on me. That's why you're the one in power, even if you're the one in my orbit. And that's why I'm the one in power, even if I'm the one in your orbit. If I depend on you, I'm still the one in power. We're both in power. That's really what it ends up being. And that's what healing tells you, that you don't need to have a loser. You don't have to beat each other to win. You don't have to beat each other to win. So you can call upon someone. When you call upon someone with an open heart, and you call upon them knowing that they have no obligation to you, but you call upon them to help you, that is when you are in the most pro-social state, the most pro-social and even the most moral state. Could be the most moral thing to do, to call upon someone rather than to cancel or call them out. Finally, if we're trying to get something, some desire, some complaint, you're trying to have some complaint or some grievance addressed, you can pursue some action, some outcome, some acquisition, some resolution, but you can also attract all of those things. You can even create those things. As your power grows, you can actually start to create the things you want in life rather than to pursue them and ask someone to bring them to you. even rather than to attract them and to have someone and to have them come to you. So if you pursue something, you're going after it, but then it might run away. If you attract something, you don't have control over it. You've given up that option of going after it. But you have created a life that you yourself enjoy, and you've created a life that is attractive to others. And so you have a sort of magnetic attraction. The bigger, the more dependable, the more loving, the more illuminated you are. When you're obviously good for other people, when you're obviously healing, tonic influence on other people, then they will be attracted to you. If you're obviously a hurting or toxic influence on other people, they will be repelled by you. And if you're in pursuit of something, it's very easy to see from their perspective, whether it's a person or something else, that maybe you are actually bad for it, as opposed to being magnetically attractive to it. But of course, when arrows pointing in the opposite directions combine, what you get is a whirlwind. You get a whirlwind of creation. Now, we haven't even gone through what these stand for yet, but we will very soon. And the point that you have the law of pursuit, the law of attraction, and the law of creation working for you, if you do, and the fact that you have the cancel tool, the call out tool, the call in tool, and the call upon tool working for you, and you have your physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social life working for you, then you really have an alignment. You have an alignment or a convergence towards whatever transition point you're going through in your life. But you got to know what it is. That helps a lot. If you know what your complaint is, if you know what your desire is, then you actually know what the point of everything you're doing is. And so what we're talking about here is finally whether you have the power to do anything about it or not. That's why we have here the ability to drive towards the point or to drift around the point. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 model that's very easy to follow. It's very fun, actually. It releases taboo and stigma. It heals secret wounds and traumas because it converts that or disappointment, anger, and trauma to dis, dependence, innocence, and service. Because when you're the angry person, you are the smaller person, and you're depending on the bigger person to fix you. When you're angry at someone, it means someone's not been doing the things that you wanted them to do to you and for you. The final translation, in addition to that to this, is from stigma to stamina. Stigma is success through intimidation, guilt, maladaptive, antisocial behavior. And we're all very familiar with this kind of power. This is oppressive power. This is oppressive power. And whenever we think of power, we tend to think of it in this way because that's just where our consciousness is. However, stamina is success through admiration, mutually inspired and non-accusatory. And this is a spectrum. This is a spectrum. You still have stigma available to you even when you grow into stamina, and the translation works in both directions. So you can use stigma and you can use stamina. But notice that one gets everything done. It's everything done that the other one gets done. For the most part, when you're at a certain level in life, without the cost. The cost of stigma, the cost of taboo, the cost of trauma, the cost of hurting is very high. And we can hurt people physically, we can hurt them emotionally, financially, and socially. We can hurt each other a lot, and we do, without even trying. So the first step is actually to start talking about it. To start talking about the ways that we have hurt other people and the ways that other people have hurt us. The ways that we've made others disappointed, angry, and traumatized. And the way that in that moment, they were dependent on us. They were innocent, and all they wanted was our service. But we made them disappointed, angry, and traumatized because we were ourselves indulgent or not in control or didn't have insight into what we were doing. But this is fine. This is the game. This is the game of stamina, of increasing our consciousness, of elevating our understanding about the rippling effects that our actions have on the people around us, on the waves or vibrations or frequencies that we are emanating constantly, and that other people around us and we ourselves are in. We are in the vibration that we ourselves are emanating. And so whether you need someone to do something different in order for your vibration to change, whether you can change your vibration yourself or you can change the vibration of others, is really what we're talking about here. This is empowerment without victim blaming. And this is what healing really is when you talk about healing physically, healing emotionally, healing mentally, healing financially, and healing socially, which is what the 7 games of stamina are. The 7 games of stamina are sorcery, where you are the owner of the outcome. Thoroughness, where you plan in advance the details, the points, the distinctions, what goes where. The actual factual, the facts of the matter. No editorialization, no reading between the lines, just the fact, please. Then we have your mood, your vibe, your energy, how you feel. These are all separate games. We don't play these games at the same time. We play each game separately together. Finally, you have inspired innovation. You have opportunity. This is the opportunity-minded, the optimistic. You have the negative game, which we're all so good at playing. This is a game that we're all very good at playing. The logical negative. This is the logical negative, and this is the logical positive. Finally, and what? And what else? And what else? Make something up. The creative. And you see the sorcerer is the creative, is the creator, is who actually is making things happen, is generating products, is healing, is creating positive effects and influences in the lives of others, and knows they're doing it, and makes others aware that they're doing it, so that they can teach it, so that we can actually learn to be a positive influence in the lives of others on purpose. By noticing how we are negative influences in the lives of others without being ashamed of it, but noticing that we are negative influences in the lives of others and that we can be positive influences. We're both. We have the power to hurt and to heal and to ignore. But when we ignore, we stop seeing. There's a blind spot here. When we ignore, we actually lose our understanding of our power to hurt, and we lose our understanding of our power to heal. We lose our power when we ignore it. And so that's what this curriculum is inviting you to step back into. To notice that you hurt others and others hurt you, that makes both you and others more powerful than you really had given as much credit to in the past. So that's it for now. We're going to continue more soon, and we look forward to meeting you on the other side, outside of space-time, on the internet, in a place that we design together. Thank you.